Baby, love with you is all I need. And baby, it's just like a childhood dream. Got me hoping, got me wishing, got me loving everything, be everything for you. And that's on me. Got me spinning. Baby, love with you is all I need. Baby, love with you is all I dream. Got me spinning that block again. Love with you. Let's do it over and over again. Got me giving me butterflies. Tell no lies. You got me spinning grinds. The tears are crying. Baby, I wanna spend my life with you. Everything you wanna do.
All right, y'all. So we need to know what's going on with Nature Boy. If you don't know, he's locked up. Nature Boy was one of them kind of people look him as a cult leader because he had people doing different things from the norm, which I guess is considered a kind of a cult. But basically, it's people who decide to live their life differently than everybody else. And one thing he did was non-traditional medicines, non-traditional healings and ways of thinking. And he had different women and men stand with him in his house. And then it got to be where people started accusing him of abuse, assault, uh, and so forth and so on, and being forced against their will. And at one point, I was even scared for the people that were there because they were women were being forced to fight each other. Well, I wouldn't say forced, but that's the image it was given allegedly that he would have these women with black eyes and stuff like that, and he would be like, y'all fight it out. Which I do understand in some cultures when they have issues, they have them battle. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's ways to handle issues besides throwing hands. They could have talked it out, so forth, and his own. And then different times he would move locations and so forth and so on, which is Nature Boy. And he was out of the country, then he ended up being in the country where he was apprehended. I remember him being in Costa Rica, different places, eating natural food over there. Then the next thing I know, I think they said he was in the States, and I know he would go on like podcasts like Bigo and stuff like that and have lives. And he would do what he normally does. People were able to see his life, and he was able to make money because I do know that's one of those sites you can make money if you are, you know, I don't know. But he also had YouTube channels, I believe, too at one point. I know back in the day. I don't know what about now because he was also doing the Bigo thing. But some women accused him of abuse. And so I did see some very suspicious things going on to where he was talking to the people. And then, like I said, I did see some acts of violence, but it wasn't really by him, it was by the other members of this organization. And but to me, it seemed like it was forced, like they was expected to do it. And so some people um, were happy that he got locked up, and they said they're not going back. And then some people acted like some of his, if they would go back, because he had some wives. He had multiple wives, and some of the wives that he had were waiting on him to come back. And I felt bad because if you have a man that's a provider, or you have a man taking care of home, aka Nature Boy, allegedly these women, they did things around the house, but he was like the leader of the whole shebang. None of them really had jobs. I don't think horror is like conventional. They probably had jobs like on social media to do their broadcasting and everything like that. I'm not sure what was going on, but some of these women seem to be missing him. And at one while, I was like, okay, they're gonna eventually see that he was back. Cause when you're in an abusive situation, sometimes you just want to go back, especially if you're like down bad and you have like no other options. But I feel like okay, these women get out, maybe try to make it on their own for like a year. That's gonna determine like if they over him, if they really miss him, want to go back. So I know some men and some women were wanting Nature Boy to get out so they can go back. And I feel like if it was just traumatic, that they would not want to go back. However, some of them do. And that's what made me kind of reflect on Was it really severe what he got accused of? True enough, he had several wives, and according to the wives, some of them said he has a little girl that's so adorable by one of his wives, and she look is spitting image of him, and she's so sweet and young. Um, and of course, she may want to see her dad one day, but the mother of that child had put a restraining order against him. But keep in mind, this same mother did say she left one time before, got on, and came back. So I have heard that happen before. When you want to make it work, you may just try to come back. And I guess if you see that it's nothing's changed because she did have a child with him, then you're done. But she ended up leaving, coming back, and then she left again. They even put, like I said, the restraining order against him where he's not even able to really see his child or her. And she's moved on with her life, and she even said that he abused her in different areas while she was there, and also took some of her documents, to where legal documents of where she was not able to leave, and that's one of the reasons why she was staying longer than she really wanted to stay. And I don't know how true that is or whatever, but I do feel like if people wanted to leave, they should have been able to leave with their property, no matter the time or the place, and um, they should have been able to have their documents, and a man shouldn't be the sole proprietor of who got their birth card or whatever. That was controlling. Now, keep in mind, I do understand when you're going through stuff, some people, especially when you're younger, they leave opposed to working it out. But I still don't feel like you gotta hold somebody hostage. If a person wants to leave, let them feel free to leave, because that's gonna start an argument. That's gonna start a fight, and that's gonna start unnecessary confusion because you're trying to tell a grown person what to do with their life. And so I'm glad that she's out, but part of me feels like she somewhat misses him, because I feel like she's moved on, but she really hasn't moved on. She's talked off and on with another member who was in there, the group, and um, and they had a child together, but it's been off and on. And even to me, like, it doesn't feel like she just totally gels with that person. Maybe because he's not as boisterous and stern and leaderishy as Soldier Boy or Nature Boy. Oh God, the Soldier Boy, Nature Boy. So I feel like part of her misses him, even though she was one of the people that said he needs to be leave her alone, and she went to lengths to make him leave her alone. However, that's just my assumption, and of course, she probably wants her child to eventually see her father, but I don't know if that's true or not. It just kind of gives me the impression that part of her does miss him, or at least wants her child to see him. And for some reason, last time that people were talking to Nature Boy online or whatever, he even did a chat in social media through the prison system where somebody interviewed him, and he was basically saying that his wives that are cool with him still check up on him, make sure he's good, and other people as well. And he does find out about his child or whatever. At least he said he feels like his child misses him. He can feel it, and this and that. And I feel like some people do have the ability to have that parental intuition. So maybe, and I'm sure the little girl does, because she was young when she parted from her dad, and she's getting older. She probably does want to see somebody other than the stepdad or just the mother, because obviously she doesn't look like the stepdad. They don't look alike. So I don't know. I don't know if Soldier Boy's changed, because I felt like at one part it just seemed like he was just getting out of control, and it didn't seem like it was going to be any help. But sometimes when you're away from society, away from things, it can trigger you to um, rethink the way you're doing things, do things differently. So I really don't know if that helped him really, really, really calm down, or if he still is not ready and able to be in there. But I feel like the reason he is in there is because people accuse him of abuse. And I feel like the people who did accuse him of abuse should have enough strength, because I think he's been there almost 2 years now, to have moved on with their lives and be okay, where if he comes out, the people that do miss him will be able to go back to him, and start alive. To me, I feel like he would probably leave the U.S. then too. Maybe he'll stay in it, but I feel like him getting locked up was kind of like, I don't know. Maybe it'll make him not. But then too, it may not change anything, because part of me feel like he wanted to get locked up. I mean, how do you not know that you was about to get locked up, bro? Like, I was hoping he was gonna get locked up, and I feel like it just happened that since he was in the U.S., it was able to happen more easier, because the cops were showing up to his house, his property, and talking about they saw him on live do this and live do that. Because some of the stuff that he was doing on live was outrageous and outlandish. And basically, he could tell his members to do whatever, like bark, breathe. And he was saying some very pornographic stuff for his people to do on these live channels that he was on. And it kind of made me uncomfortable. He's like, I'm going to have all y'all tonight. Me, And I'm just like, did we need to know that? No. But he was really just trying to let people on live know that he was like the one in control. But I feel like when it comes to sexual situations, we don't need to know all that, because that's what the group started to become. It was like a sexual thing, opposed to enlightenment or new way of learning and doing things that you're sharing to the community of people. And for that, it just got to be out of control. So, what I want to know your opinion, you guys. Do y'all think Nature Boy has learned his lesson and it's time for him to come out? Or do you think he's not learned his lesson and he needs to stay in? What are your thoughts and feelings about that? Let me know. Me, I don't know. I feel like it's okay if he comes out. But at the same time, it's like, if he hasn't learned his lesson, maybe he shouldn't come out. I don't know.
Baby, your love like a fantasy with my hope and dreams. You changed me. Baby, your love just can't get enough. I want you to give me all your stuff. Show me what love can truly